Hello everybody, today I'm going to show you how to remove the center console trim out of a B8, A5 or S5 Audi. Alright, I wanted to make a quick segment of what tools you need. So simply just a T25 Torque X, and I'd recommend, since these are pretty small for a Torque X, most likely they'll have a 1/4 inch drive, so make sure you have an adapter if you need it, or a ratchet that will fit it. And then just a simple interior removal panel tool or panel removal tool, and then a flathead with just a skinny tip. It doesn't have to be long like this, just something that's skinny at the end, and then 8mm ratchet, super simple. And honestly, a good set of grippers, like good hands. Like I'm not some crazy strong guy, but have some grip strength. If you think soy protein is the same as whey protein, you might need to get your dad to help you. Anyways, alright, so the first thing you want to do is get the battery ready to be disconnected. And you can get there just by the trunk. You lift this up, and then you'll see the spare tire. Pretty much just like any other spare tire in a car. There's a plastic piece that you'll need to take off. That just comes right off. And then you'll have the battery. And then you can just take this clip off here, and then that's the negative side of the terminal. It's very obvious, see it plus, so there's no way to mess that up. But you're not going to disconnect it yet, because you need to turn the ignition on. In the repair manual it says to have the ignition on before you unplug the battery. I don't know if it bricks something or gives you some type of code that you need to clear, but I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And you're also going to need to put it in drive or neutral. Either will work. You can come back here with the 10mm and unplug this negative terminal. So the first thing you want to do, let me zoom out a little bit, is you want to take off this AC piece. I do it with one hand, I guess. But there's these two holes underneath that you can pull on. And it does take quite a bit of force, but honestly, if you just use a small tool like this, you can get it kind of started, and it just kind of comes out. I hope you guys could see that. But then there'll be a connector that connects here with the zip tie. I just cut that off already. I'll replace that once I'm ready to actually put everything together. And then there's two connectors that are very simple to take out. You just I'll actually do the right one first. You pull this red part out, just locks the connector in, and then you press down right here, and then try to smoothly pull this thing out. And then you can set this aside. And I like to tuck these in here, just so they're out of the way. Alright, the next part of the job is getting this boot out. And it just has clips in it. There's nothing crazy. I mean, you kind of just have to give it some force. But use good judgment, obviously. Don't everything's made out of plastic. And look at how small these clips are. So be careful. Yeah, we can't really take this off unless we take off this, which we're not going to do. So just leave it up like this, and that'll give us access to this piece, the drive selector, whatever you want to call it. And it just has a simple small connector. So yeah, I got it out here. Put that to the side. The next part is we got to take this whole middle piece here out. And that's also very simple. You're just gonna grab here and just yank it. Just like that. And there's gonna be 3 connectors at the bottom. But they have, at least in my car, they have quite a bit of clearance, or quite a bit of extra wire, so you're able to pull this over and then easily access them from here without too much chafing. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and disconnect these. That one. It's pretty hard with one hand. I'll go with this one, I guess. Here we go, I got this out. Let's go ahead and put that to the side. All right, now what you're gonna do next is disconnect these two 10 millimeters. Actually, no, they're 8 millimeters. And then this ashtray will come out, and it has one connector for the, you know, the, what is that, 12-volt charger? And the good thing about this process is all these bolts, they'll all be the same, except there'll be two Torx, but they're very obviously different because the threads are much more aggressive, I guess, than the ones with washers on them. Oh, and now all you can do is just lift it up and pull it out. I mean, it just has these two connectors in the back that kind of just line it up. You see these two notches? Those just line it up, really. They don't really actually hold it in any way. And then here's the connector, and it's behind this foam. So you just pull this back and disconnect that one. All right, so I got the ashtray out. I'm gonna set that aside. Now the next step is to remove the connectors for the actual center console itself. And there should be there's two here, 8 millimeter bolts with washers, and then over here as well. These aren't OEM, so don't worry about these. Those are from my exhaust valves. That's why I'm doing all this. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take those 4 bolts out, and we'll move on to the next step. All right, so now I got these 4 bolts out. The next step is to come back here, and we should be all done up here. And if you have a soft top, there should be, I think you pry it out here because the control module for the soft top or the convertible top is right here. You just pull this out with, you know, some tool like this, and then there should be some connectors, pretty much just like everything else, and that'll be that. If you don't have a soft top though, you don't even have to worry about anything in here. It's a perfect place for storing the bolts. But the next step is to remove this plastic piece here. So you can pretty easily just pry it out with a tool like this. There you go. And now there's the 2 Torx bolts that I was talking about. Those are the ones. So we're gonna go ahead and take those out, and we'll go to the next step after that. All right, so I got those 2 bolts out, and this whole thing, slide it off and comes out. But yeah, that's all there is for the front part. Now we're gonna move to the back seat and get everything else done. All right, so now we're in the back seat. The first thing you need to do is take this AC thing out, the fans out. And I did try to use this, but the things are a little bit too thick. I didn't want to mar on my fake leather here, you know. So I use this. And this thing has some pretty strong, like, springs in it. It doesn't really feel like it wants to come out. At least the first time I did it. That was way easier. Yeah, way easier. Anyways, there's a connector back here for the AC control. So you just take that out. All right, and the next step is we're going to be removing this bolt right here. And there's not one on the other side. I'm not sure why, but it's fine by me. And if you've noticed, this metal piece is in the way. It's all good. You just pull this up, and that'll move it out of the way, and then you'll have access to that 8 millimeter. All right, now we have that bolt removed, so I'm gonna go ahead and move this back down so it's out of the way. And this whole piece is gonna come out next, so you can try to pull it out yourself, or, you know, use some pry tools. Try to be careful, obviously, but it should come out now with that one bolt out. All right, so I got it out. This is a pretty good struggle, to be honest. It's probably the hardest one. So if you can do this part, you'll be fine for the rest of the time. But anyways, there is a connector for that little outlet that it has. Just unplug that and it comes out. And so now I think you actually have to remove this, but this is the little routing for the AC. Just pull that out, super easy. Has some clips up here. And now we are going to remove this bolt and this bolt, both 8mm. All right, so the final bolts you need to take out, you can see the tops or the backs of them right here. Just 8mm, just like the rest. All right, so we have all those bolts out in the back and all the stuff out in the front. So now we should be able to go ahead and lift this whole thing up. Lift this up as well. Should be able to lift this whole thing up. All right, so I'm here in the front seat. I'm just gonna go ahead and finagle this thing out. And it helps to kind of loosen these out because they do have like a little friction thing right there. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Once I get this thing out, yeah, I can lift up there. Once you get it to where it's like this, I like to then come and disconnect this. This is for this charger here. So there you go. And then now the whole thing really is loose. There's absolutely nothing holding it back, so you can full on pull it out. And I have all my bolts in there, so I gotta keep this upright. But there you go. The only reason I was taking this out is because I stuffed my seatbelt underneath this when I put it back in. So make sure not to do that, obviously, and look how dirty it is down there. Make sure you watch the seatbelts when you put it back in. But yeah, that's how you take the center console out. And make sure not to plug the battery back in until every single component is plugged back in. And make sure the car is still in drive when you plug the battery back in and the key is in the ignition. Also, these are little tabs that I was talking about. They're really, there's not even anything back there that holds them in. Just like they're really flimsy, but they're pretty thick. So if you don't take them out, they could give you a bit of trouble. So I like to take them out first.